Inaugural demonstrator is David O'Neill, a renowned turner located in Ballymena, County Antrim. With a wood-turning career that began in 1986, David will showcase his skills through 2 projects, crafting a pair of candlesticks and a square-edged bowl. Enjoy the demonstration.
So, for those of you who know me and don't know me, my name's David O'Neill. I've been turning since about 1986. I got called upon on Wednesday evening by Pat to, he says, would you step in for Gary Runce very quickly? He says, he's unwell. Now, Gary and I, over the past 10 years, have become quite friendly. He's been to our house, he has visited. His wife's people are actually, her connections are from Ballymena up in the north, so he would be over back and forward. Pardon me. He would be over back and forward. So whenever Pat said about it, I said, well, currently I'm in the middle of a job, and it's 1,300 turnings. So it's quite a big job, so it is. And you know, you have to keep moving on when you're in a job like that, so you have. So I said, look, I'll do, what I normally do is I take Saturday and Sundays off, basically just to get a rest, because I'm at the lathe from 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, and it's quite sore on me, so that is these bigger jobs. So anyway, I was very, very happy to step in for Gary, so I was, and so whenever I heard he was unwell, I messaged him, so that I messaged him yesterday, and he sent me a message back. So I put on it, sorry to hear you're not so well. Can you imagine they have chosen me to stand in for you tomorrow? I try my best, but I'll never be as good as you. So I sent him get well soon. And so he sent me back a message that he wants me to read out to you. He says, thanks for standing in for me. They couldn't have found a better turner. I'm not just too sure about that. But this is the serious part. He says, I had a burst ulcer and lost 2 pints of blood, so it was quite serious, like so it was. But I'm on the mend, back tomorrow, which is today. He's back in the hospital as we speak for more blood tests, but feeling a lot better. He says, quite weak, and doesn't help when I have lots of work on, but I'm really disappointed about missing out on the barbecue and meeting everyone. Please pass on my apologies to everyone who was expecting to see me, and thanks for your concern. So that's the situation with Gary as it stands at the minute, but he was, you know, a burst ulcer and losing 2 pints of blood, that's quite serious, so it is. So I'm sure we'll all be thinking about him as the day goes on, so we will, you know. So whenever Pat rang me and says, can you do this? I says, right, what do I do? What do I do? I haven't any time to go anywhere to get anything, so what I had to do was, I said, right, I have to do something that I have the timber to hand for to do. So that's what we're going to do today, or this morning. So what I'm going to do is, this here is what I call my single piece candlestick. So that's it there. It's all made out of 1 piece of wood, and what we're going to do is, we're going to make not only 1 of them, but 2 of them, and that will go. What we'll do is we'll take you through the cups and spindle turning, and then we'll take you through and show you how you copy turn it. And then I have something after that for the bowl turner. So we have a mix of spindle turning and a bit of bowl turning as well. So I trust that will please everybody. So first of all, to get a feel for the audience, how many people have been turning for less than a year? Very good. Good to see a few new starts. How many have been turning for less than 4 years, let's say? And the rest are all seasoned, well-known, long-standing wood turners. So, I try and mix this, that there's something for everybody, so there is. So, First of all, when you come to spindle turning, and you say, for instance, want to make a piece of furniture, in that turning that you're going to do, you're going to have a square block, and then there has to be a transition between the square block and the wood turner. So, does anybody know what you call that cut? I see Danny McGeever sitting here, and he knows rightly what you call it. So, the pummel cut, very good, the pummel cut. And it was one of the hardest things, when I started wood turning, it was one of those things that I could never get right. And that was until I took a course with Stuart Batty. I have done a course, I can proud to say that I've done a course with Stuart Batty, and I was that well pleased with it, I went back and done a course with his father, Alan Batty. So that was where I learned. And it's amazing when you get somebody who knows what they're doing in wood turning, it just solves the problems very, very quickly for you. Because you could stand at a lathe for a long time and not get the thing right. So, firstly, I'm going to cut a pommel cut here for you and let you see how I go about doing it. So, if you watch this, I think this will be the best camera here, this one here. So, and I'll stop the lathe in a minute and explain this to you. So, stop there. Now, this is where I want to explain this in a wee bit of detail to you. We'll go a wee bit deeper, so we'll. Should be down there nearly to the full diameter. So, now, you notice whenever I was doing that there, the chisel didn't jump about or skate about all over the place, or snatch, or cut, or catch. When you're cutting a pommel cut like this, there's one thing that is critical, and I call it a critical clearance angle. You see, whenever I'm going down in here, I have only got the point of my chisel in contact. Only that, you see that point there? That is the only piece of the chisel that is in contact with the wood. Now, so it goes down in like that, and then you'll see in here, you see my pencil point here? That's what I call my critical clearance angle. Why do I call it critical? The reason I call it critical is, if you close that clearance angle down, let's see what happens. So I close the angle down, and look, it just pulls out in a snatch. So close it down like that, and it just catches and pulls back on you. So it's critical that you keep that clearance between. What do you see now? As I go in round there, lovely smooth cut. And the reason for that is I have my clearance angle there. Is everybody happy with that? That clearance between that and that. If you haven't got that, you'll have trouble, see well. Everybody okay with that? So, I wanted to explain that basically before that we take the wood away. One of the other ones that's quite common, that, by the way, that curve there, that is fairly standard across the board, and most pieces of wood turning that you'll pick up. You'll see that in your newel post, your table leg, your chair legs, all that there. Then sometimes you'll see an OG, one done in the shape of an OG. So bring back out again. that's an OG there. That one there, basically done with your spindle gouge, nothing terribly hard about it. So has anybody got any problems with that one? And by the way, any time during the day, feel free to throw out the questions. There's no question too silly or too simple. Feel free to, I'll try my best to answer them all. So everybody happy with the transition from the square to the round? So, just change my tool rest here. Now, so what we'll do, we'll just run the blank down here to the round. So I'll now, the wood that I'm using here is redwood, so it is. I have this to hand, and you get it pretty much, it's in most builders, suppliers, good timber yards will have it. So I'm just going to drop on the tenon here to fit the chuck, and then we'll get going. I have to set it. 56 millimeter. So, just lift the tool rest up a wee bit for this. Nice square face there for the chuck to sit in against. So, now we'll just do the same with the other one. Now, most of these, how would you go about centering a piece like this? Most of these would draw a line corner to corner, maybe a marking gauge, mark a wee square in the middle of it. Different ways of doing it. How's that? I've seen this idea on the German website. If any of you are interested, I can give you the website for it. As simple as that. It centers rectangular, it centers round, it centers oval, it centers any shape you want, and I think it comes in a bigger size if necessary, if you were doing bigger stuff. Very, very simple. It's, how would you describe that thing? It's a flexible thing that hits on two corners, you hit it there, and you have your center. It's probably 3D printed, I would imagine, something like that. So, I was over at the Association of Wood Turners in Great Britain demonstrating last October for them, and I took that thing with me, and I was worried that I wasn't going to get it home again, so there was such an interest in it, and Since then, I see one or two of them have got them, and I see them putting them into use. I see them online. So, I'll just run this down. We're not maybe getting, there's not so much straight sections in this here to explain a planing cut. So what I want to do just at this point, we're not just totally right down to the round. So what we'll do is we'll do a planing cut along that, and then I'll stop the lathe and explain it for beginners. Beginners mostly would start and do a planing cut one direction, and that's the direction that you're cutting in. So go along there, planing cut along there, and then when you get a wee bit more experience, you can come back across it freehand. Now, I explain that. So what I'm doing there, so just tighten the tailstocks, timber's a wee bit loose. So what I'm doing there, number one, A, B, C, and D, right? So first of all, what I'm doing, anchor the chisel on the tool rest. Get the chisel on the tool rest, anchor your chisel on it. That's A. B, rub the bevel. So A, anchor your chisel. B, rub the bevel. Now I'm not, whenever I'm talking about rubbing the bevel, I am rubbing. Now, what I'm doing here is, you see the way my chisel has been ground. That's a hollow grind across there, but I've softened the back edge of the chisel there. If I left that as that is there, with quite a sharp edge in the back of that grind, that will make that chisel harder to control. But if you soften the back edge of your skew like that, that makes things a wee bit easier for you, so it does. So, anchor the chisel, rub the bevel, anchor the chisel, rub the bevel, and then pick up the cut. Now, watch where the sawdust is in this cut. Just concentrate on where the sawdust is. D is the direction that you're going in.
What speed are you running
now? No, what speed are we running at? But 900 there, so there. Right. We have a man up in our chapter, up in the, our group up in the north. Some of you will know him, Harry Emerson. Harry says, tell us, what's F for? I leave it up to your imagination. That's when all goes wrong. So A, B, C, and D. Anchor the chisel on the tool rest. B, rub the bevel but don't allow it to cut. C, pick up the cut. And D is the direction you're going. C is probably quite important, the cut. Do you see? Do you see where I have just put on a pencil line there? That is the optimum area for cutting with your skew chisel. You don't want to be cutting past the halfway point. See where the halfway point is there? If we go to cutting beyond the halfway point, your chisel's going to catch in on you. So you want to be working on the bottom half of that cut. So you do, and the bottom half of your chisel. Everybody happy with that? All right. Right, I drop in a chopping point here. Just give me a second and then we'll go on to the candlestick.
Sorry, what's the size of your black to start with?
Sorry?
What's size is the blank?
The blank is around 90 millimetres in diameter. Now, I picked this stuff up here in a timber yard in Belfast called McGregor's. It's a branch, McGregor's is a subsidiary firm of Murdoch's up in Newry. And they have this in stock all the time. I'm sure you have timber yards around here that would stock the like that as well, you know. So I always try to keep a wee bit of this in stock because it's handy for demonstrations, and you know, sometimes somebody comes in looking something that's over 3 inch, at least you have something. So you have. So, 56. Problem is, there's nearly too many pairs of calipers here. Now, whenever I go, I'm just going to trim off the end here so it sits in tight and with a nice machined end here, so that it sits nicely on the face of the chuck jaws. And once again, as I cut down in there for the beginners, do you see as I get down in there, do you see it's only the point of the chisel that's in contact with the wood. I have my clearance angle there. Very, very important. Without that clearance angle, snatch. And that's not good. So, right. The one drawback with redwood is you just don't know where you're going to hit a resin pocket. So you don't. Thankfully, I'm seeing none of it there. Not big bars. Nope. That's locked there now. So, chuck key. Smaller one to do this. Just to get that trued up, the tailstock, tighten that up, and we should be good to go. It's running reasonable. We're going to be taking a lot of that way, so we're not worrying too much about that. So, what we need to do now is to drill the hole for the candle cup. So that's there. Now, the candle cup suits this 25mm drill bit, and the depth of the wee candle cup, these are slightly bigger ones here. I can't even remember now where I got them, probably Axminster. And as far as I remember, you drill it in the depth of the paint that's on the, so we just need to come down to that point there. So just want to check that. Just take the speed down the least wee bit for drilling that. Yeah, I'll just do the other one right at it, and then it gets that Right, the tailstock out of my way. So it goes. So did you all have an early start this morning?
Yeah, early enough.
Pardon?
Early enough.
Early enough. We left Dublin Wood around 5:30 this morning. So we did. And we had a really good clear run the whole way down. And even with that, we stopped we stopped over there at Lusk just to go to the toilet and have a cup of tea. And it took us basically all our time, really. We were here about 49 or something like. So, but it was a really clear run down, and no rain was the great thing. So it just made for a very pleasant journey. So. Even the traffic lights in the west light were at green this morning. I don't remember when last I ever came to those traffic lights and they were green. So we'll just pop that in there for a wee bit of tailstock support. I'm just looking. This lathe turns the headstock. This lathe turns round. Should have checked the points and that, but anyhow, I think it's actually turned a wee bit. This is the handle here that turns that. I should have had that checked, but anyway. So, yeah, that's better now. So everything all nice and tight. Let's get going now. We'll just swap that out for this morning. Now, when you come to making anything that has got a pair, it's always a good idea to have a storyboard, or at least something that you can mark off. So that mark I have put on there. I know that mark is that point there. That point there. Have that that's what you would call pre-planned, so it is. So that's that mark there. And what we're going to do, the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to reduce everything from there to there. So that whole section there will be reduced to that diameter to make things a whole lot easier for us. Now, I have a pair of calipers set for that. Some of these two here are set for it. That's one here. Then out the road. So, bit more speed now that we've got away from rough and down. Turn your speed up, lift our tool rest up to the right height there. And we'll just set that right to side. I need my arm over the road. So, this particular shape here is out of the book. It's a book that's out of press, it's out of publication now, but it's a black book, and it's all to do with different shapes of things. I'm sure some of you maybe have it. Fantastic book. The guy wrote can't just get the name of it now, but what you can do, when it comes to removing waste like this, you can do it two ways. You can clean it, or you can take it down with your roughing gouge. Whenever there's as much as that to do, I would prefer to run that down with my roughing gouge. So we'll quickly take this away here. The one nice thing about redwood is, I can remember, let's get something straight. All wood dust is dangerous. All wood dust. But some are more dangerous than others. And I can remember speaking to a man one time, he was a doctor actually, and he said, well, probably your softwood is the least dangerous. You want it, well, so, but let's be straight. We should be wearing a mask when we're turning. I wear one when I'm turning, or I have quite a powerful dust extractor now, and which takes away a lot of it as well. But no, wear a mask when you're turning, because I'm sure we've all known people that have problems with their lungs. So anyhow, any questions so far? Everybody happy enough? There we are. So, right. So, storyboard in here, and I just pop on a few lines. So,
Your commission to make those two candlesticks in a wood of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
What wood would you choose?
oh, if you could get spalted beech, that would make a very nice set of them. Walnut would be nice. You'll struggle maybe here in Ireland to get walnut that size. Oak, ash, that type of thing. But your spalted beech is nice for it's got a bit of character about it, so it has, or you know, so it has. So, right, that's the set of colours for that. Over there, away. So the next size that I want to draw into is this one here. That's another. Must have mixed the colours up so much. So we'll just drop that in there. And I'm basically going to take that down from here, from this point here, right up to here. So get that removed. Run that down with our badan. first thing we have, with this wee half bead here, we're going to roll that over. A few ways that you can roll that over. My preferred method is screw chisel. So once again, anchor the chisel, rub the bevel, pick up the cup. This time, I'm only using the very point, the very bottom point. So rub the bevel, pick up the point, pick up the cup, and roll my half bead over. Back again, it's not just tied it up right to the very bottom, pick up the cup. And roll the bead over. Then, I don't want to fall off the end of the tool rest, so I'll just bring that back. I want to come back here, and then tidy up that cup right down into the bottom. There we are. Now, set her caliper to the right size here. So, part and chisel, and we're working to this side here. Have a couple of things. Oh, the locks are in there. Now, the one on this side is that mark there. Bit more speed. And we're going to put in the cup shape here now. I want a nice crisp edge there, slicing down through the fibres of the wood. Back again, pick up the cup. Get rid of this waste here, don't have to wait. Once again, round here, rubbing the bevel the whole way right down round there, and cutting the wood the way the wood wants to be cut. So, now, my aim when I'm wood turning is minimum sanding. I detest standing sanding for hours and end. So you can see there, you see the finish that I've got there, can you see that clearly in the screen there? Yep. That's what I'm looking for, so it is. A nice crisp cut finish. You happy with that, Danny? Did you drive down this morning? Did you? Oh, no. You stayed over last night? Very good.
I have friends.
That's good. In the right places. So, just maybe deepen that down the nice wee bit there. Give it a bit nice shape. So, that's that. Now, the next thing I'll do is I'll do a wee bit of this body here and put that bead in. So, peel that away. Check off the storyboard here, just that everything's where I want it to be. Slide go down, how many miles would that be? Good run now. So, spiky snacks there. If you're new to wood turning and you're struggling to start a cove like that, there's absolutely no harm whatsoever in a little mark at the point of your skew chisel on the both sides, remembering the clearance angle, of course, and then that gives you somewhere to rest the bevel of your chisel on to swing your cove in round. There again, swing my cove round, back out, swing my cove round, and I'm doing the same things as I was saying in the A, B, C and D. I'm anchoring the chisel, rubbing the bevel, picking up the cut, and then rubbing out the cove. So, that's that one. Back here, skew chisel work, you want your tool rest nice and high, generally slightly above centre height. So, over there, and that cove's slightly too wide, slightly a wee bit wider than that. Or the fillet, that wee fillet in there is slightly too wide, and it bounces about. Now, just tidy that up. I always like to run a wee bit of an angle on them fillets just to pronounce them. So there we have that. At this point I want to come out to here and I want to do the OG in this end here, because down in here I have a bead to put in there. I'll let you just size it first and then we'll run the OG down into that. So how are we getting on for time? Where are we at time-wise? 10:30. Hard to believe an hour has gone already. Whew. Need to move on. So, take a look at that law a second. That's only at one side. I thought it was right through the middle of it, so thankfully it's not. Just back out there to the top, pick up the pot. Now, start done, back out here. Start to do your routine in the bottom of it. Pick up the pot. Oh, pick up the pot. There we go. Drop that down there. Just skew, just tidy that up there. Should rest and we get closer. So you can roll your bead over, roll it over with either your skew or your gauge, whatever one you prefer. Just put the run back down in there again. Take that off the bottom. So, one other wee thing I want to do is do a tiny bit of a face cut, or at least wee bit just to tidy up that end there. Face it that way. How's it looking? Of course we have a little knob down in there where we don't want it, so we have. So, that's that.
Sure, it wouldn't be anywhere else.
That wouldn't be anywhere else is right. No, that's 100% right. Purposely going to sand very, very little at that's here, because I want to hand it around to you just to let you all see just what can be achieved off the chisel in a piece of softwood like this here. So we'll sand very little at that. Now, where are we? 10:30. Just pop that out and run the other one out now. Hopefully to match. Sorry. Thanks, Danny. Thank you. So, pop this bit in. Just check how true this is running here. You shall all be looking forward to a barbecue. I am, anyway. So, just quickly run through this here to get back down to the round here. Second how run with that dry. Thankfully the project after tea break has got very few kilometres in it. In fact, there's very low kilometres in it as well. So, let's measure. This wood will be over. And then I want to tidy up that little fillet there again. Do that in. That in nicely. Roll that down round, and do no harm to have that up beside us here. Look at the stable. Get back there and clean that out a bit. You have the very same thing again. This chisel here is a wee short one that I keep for common demonstrating, and it's actually now become just almost too short to reach over to the restaurant. Where is that? Size wise, a bit deeper. So, right in there, tidy up that bit. In there. Back out here to rest up a wee bit. I was thinking I have to reduce that down. And there up. Just check it's the right one. So, moving the toe rest up as far as I can there. Once again, anchor the chisels, bevel, cut in their direction. Just pick up a good few with that. Anybody any questions? Or have I put these all to sleep? Any questions at all? Oh, sorry.
When you have those made, what do you do?
Sorry?
When you have those made, what do you do with them?
What will I do with them?
Not what will you do with them? Will you sell them? Will you put them in the show? Or have you got an outlet?
I might even donate them for a prize today. How would that do? Would you like to win them? I've never sold any of them as yet. Take a wee bit of that for time's sake, or take a wee bit of that way with a gouge. Would you believe it? There's a knot in the very same place as the last one. A matching pair that, you know. Huh? Right, my battery has gone, so that's all right. Oh, no, it's cool now. We're okay. Sometimes, oh, dropped out again. Well, good job. We're back in business.
Back on there.
Back in the air again. So, now, the tool rest in a wee bit closer. What was that feeling like? to trim the end just to tidy that up. So we have, let's do that now. You see how much, see, that was cutting my chop saw, which I think is really cutting reasonably good. And look, a lathe always tells you how far a thing is out. Hard to believe. Okay. Now, just change chucks quickly here, and that will get us back to.
Dave,
Uh-huh.
we're making a storyboard. Would you do your drawing on the sign first on paper, and then make the piece, and then make the storyboard from that?
Yes. Uh-huh. So, basically we have to trim the bottom off now. So we have, and I had a wee piece looking for it. I'll just pop this in. Now that's 25mm drill. Just set the per corner to 25 in here. I'll show you how I trim off the bottoms of them. I think this is only about an maple here. Slightly too big. Starting to come the right side. Lovely. Now, change out the tail stop or my revolving center to a point. Want to get down in as close to the point as we can. So, I just face that off there while we remember to do it. We can remove the waste. We have to remove it carefully because we haven't got a lot of pressure. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on that tailstock. So, do now is we want to take a nice face and cut right down the face of that there, down that bottom. So pick up the cut, and remember our clearance angle as we cut down there. And what we want to do is to look through there and see a slight hollow on that. The candlestick will never sit right if it's rotten. So see the way it's too heavy there in the centre. So once again, come down in here, pick up the cut. Now, just check the bottom of it here. Nice and hollow. And we've had a wee split. That is the thing about redwood. You will get wee tiny cracks and splits in it. And what I think I'll do when I can, the split is basically only about 1 millimetre below the surface, and it's running that direction there. So if I lift that up, so what I'll do is I'll reduce the surface about 1 millimetre. And hopefully try and remember to do it well. See if we've got rid of it there. There's the slightest bit back. That should be a clear of it there now. So that's that. Just tidy that up. Yeah, drop down in there. Pick up the cut. Take that down, there's only 3 millimetres left. And I think we have got about 3 minutes left to do the other 1.5. So what I do with that there now, at this point here, I would just trim that off with a wee saw and sand that off there. So 2 ticks, run this one down, and then I know you're all sitting there gasping for a cup of coffee. And I am myself, so I know you are too. So now I reduce the bottom diameter in that other one, so I just check. Right, that's what I see. Easiest way probably to do that. It's always quite worrying when that handle starts turning. At home I turned some quite large pieces of wood, and that would be, it's not 18 inches, 3 foot long type of thing, I know. And if you saw that handle turning like that, that would be very scary. So it was. So you just peel away a bit here, get that down there quickly for you. That out, pick up the top. The hollow now. Take that down in there till it's about 3 mil, or even 3.5, whatever you like. There we have it. So, 2 seconds, pull the tailstock back, and we can just pair that off with, take that off with a nice sharp chisel there. Pair that down. That's that one done. This is the one with the crease, is the two of them the same. We'll just take that off there and pair that away. Let's set them up and see what they're like.
Looks good.
How would we do? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so easy.